Well, today is Sunday morning, and what is it, November the 22nd today? I don't know what time it is, but I'm doing my morning chores. As you can see over my shoulder, there's some of my chickens, and we're having a little bit of chicken coop wisdom today. Boy, where do I start with this? Well, just off the bat, I'll just give you, there is that's Fuzzy Lumpkin, the silky chicken. There are two little bantam hens there. I just affectionately call them Quailey's babies because they are. One up there on top is a brown leghorn pullet. Young bird too. They're just hanging out with me in the morning. Over there we got that speckled egg over there. That's what her name is. She's a speckled Sussex. So, why am I making this? Well, I have several things that are on my mind because I've become such a news junkie, particularly when it comes to politics and stuff as of today. And I thought I would give I have learned to loathe the media because the media is so extremely biased. It's sickening to me. They definitely don't treat the Trump administration with any type of respect whatsoever, or acknowledge anything good that has come out of a Trump administration. And why do I say this? Well, and they're labeling the people who like Trump to a cult following. And I'm going to lay this out here. I have come to respect this man in a way that I've never respected a president before. Why? Because he actually delivered on everything he said. Now, you may not like the things he wanted to do, but he delivered on every one of them. 500 miles of wall, amongst other things. And what I keep hearing from these crazy people on the left, oh, he lies. Well, Jesus, you got Joe Biden poised, and I'm saying poised, to take the presidency. Didn't you realize that guy ran for president 3 times, and every time he dropped out of the race, it had to do with him completely plagiarizing other people's speeches from other countries? The guy is a known plagiarizer, a known liar. And if, in case you didn't know, back in the day, in college and stuff, if you plagiarized, you lost credit for whatever you did. It's the blatant hypocrisy of the media is just so off the chart insane. Now, what am I bringing this about? I watch media. I watch some things that a lot of people, particularly in Hollywood, say, and they're saying, well, all these people that follow Trump, they're in a cult, and we have to deprogram them. I want you to really think about what he's saying. He's really talking about re-education camps, re-education program, something leftists are very good at. Maoists, Stalinists, Bolsheviks, Leninists, whatever you want to call them, they're really good at re-education camps. I mean, the vernacular for them would probably be called gulags. But I don't expect young people to have an understanding of this because they're totally ignorant and completely clueless to history and what totalitarian regimes typically did. Trump is not a totalitarian. And they label him a fascist, but broad spectrum speaking, let's just call it all totalitarianism. Communism falls into that. Democrats are toying with the idea of totalitarianism in the sense of a globally controlled government network. The world's been trying to do this for a very, very long time. And the reason Trump is so vehemently opposed is because he doesn't want to go with the globalist agenda. It's really not hard to see. I really wish people would put their bias, put it behind them and try to look at something objectively instead of full of vitriol and hatred and start to look at the facts of all these things. Because that's the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is just really, really simple. Trump has bucked the system, and what they never wanted him in there because they were surprised he got in, and everything they have done fell off him like water on a duck's back because he is tenacious and he has surrounded himself with very good and loyal people, which is important. So this last election cycle, I don't know how you can deny. Do you really think that 80 million people voted for Joe Biden? The guy hid in the basement for half the campaign. Hillary Clinton went on record saying, don't concede no matter what you do, no matter what happens. And he even had a nice little Freudian slip where he said he had the biggest fraud network in place. People say, oh, no, that was just a gaffe. Joe Biden is an old man. He is 76 years old with mental decline. If you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. Look, I'm 50. I can't even remember how old I am. I think I'm 56 or 57 next month. I have got senior moments. Plenty of them. I can't imagine what this guy's got going, and he really shouldn't be running the country with that. If you really do the math and think that he's going to be in there for 4 years, yeah, I mean, well into his 80s, he's already going to be considered the oldest president we ever had. I've been raised by old people. I watch mental decline. I seen it happen throughout the 70s until they made it into their 90s. So in their 80s and 90s. So don't lecture me that Joe Biden is fit to run the country because he's not. Don't blind yourself to the foolishness. Now, as it comes down to this whole cult thing, Donald Trump is just a man like anybody else. But everybody has people they look up to. Doesn't mean he's perfect. I know that man's not perfect. But what I like about him more than anything else is he can express himself as a regular person. And that is Donald Trump's appeal, and it is also his strength. When they start saying he's not presidential, when I saw them have the debate between him and Biden called him a clown. He called him a clown. He says he's not presidential. Barack Obama was very presidential. You know why? Because Barack Obama uttered words of silk and honey. And that's what politicians do best. They can spit out words laced like silk and honey that goes down real smooth and everybody just laps it up like a starving honeybee. It's truth. I don't want someone that's slick with words. I want someone to be truthful, honest, and get the job done. Look, we have all worked in a situation where we've dealt with managers. We all knew that they weren't doing, they had their heads up their ass. Let's be honest. We all worked with bosses who didn't know what they were doing, and where the lower level employees actually knew more than their owner, the owners of the company or their managers or their supervisors knew. We all know this. So if you really think that being presidential is about being slick with words, you're just a fool. Who's the cult follower with this? Donald Trump is not the leader of a cult. What he does is he gives people real hope. He gives real hope. Now, I'm going to say this too. Jesus was considered, the early Christians in the early church were considered cult followers because Jesus was a cult-like figure. And if you think about it to this day, there's a lot of people who think Christians are still in a cult. You know, they're entitled to their own belief system. If that's what they want to believe, God have it. But what it comes at to is this. When do you decide you're going to start persecuting the people for the cult? Right? Because that's what you typically do. That's what human beings typically do when one doesn't agree with them. They persecute the cult. So this is what I have to say. I really think that Trump is going to get a second term. Consecutive term. We'll see if it pans out. If it does pan out, like I say, it's going to go down. And some of my closest friends know why I say this, and I'll go publicly with it because I'm not quite sure, because a lot of it has to do with where I'm at personally and spiritually, for that matter. But to say that the man leads a cult is foolishness. Any more than people, these jokers who worship the ground of pop culture and people in pop culture. Hero worship. You know, it's no different than people that go crazy over a rock band or whatever, and they got posters all over the walls. You don't label them a cult, do you? I mean, if you were crazy about Kiss back in the day, were you a cult follower? I like the Beatles. I still like the Beatles to this day. got books on him and all kinds of stuff. Doesn't mean I was in a cult. Just like their music. Well, I like President Trump. And I can't say I really cared about him too much when he was in the public eye in the entertainment industry. I really didn't pay attention to him. I will say this. I always noticed that he said the same things as president that he did 30, 40 years ago because I remember. So much for the cult following. But I'm going to tell you another thing. There's a particular backbone in a lot of us who like him, where we don't like to be pushed and we don't like to be shoved, and we will put up with a lot of bullshit. But there comes a time where we're not going to tolerate being pushed and shoved around anymore. You keep that in mind, particularly if a president steps onto the scene that was elected by fraudulent means, where there is actual proof, unlike, Russians getting Donald Trump elected. So just keep that under your hat.